So I've been having this thought. I want to share a couple things. I want to share one thing really. I want you to consider something. I want you to consider. Okay, here's example A. Here's the first thing to consider. God, I'm not perfect. I stumble. I sin, and forgive me for not loving my neighbor. So that's the first way. And then think about this. Think about it being phrased in this way. God, thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for grace. And because that is such good news, because it was freely given to me, I want to be able to give that to others. And I want to love my neighbors in word and in deed because I've been shown grace. And I've got a few reasons why I think we need to consider maybe saying it more the second way than the first way. The first one is it's personal because it seems like I hear pretty much every other week, I would say, on estimation. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, I don't know. But I tend to cringe sometimes every time I'm reminded that I'm stumbling and that I'm a sinner and that I'm broken and that I didn't do this right. And so part of it is for me personal because I feel like I have struggled and continue to struggle with my own demons of whether it's depression, anxiety. And I just think this is my church community, and why do we have to be reminded that we're not perfect? When all of us know we're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect, you know you're not perfect. The other thing I consider is this. I think a lot of times when we start out with forgive us for stumbling and not being perfect and for not doing this, and whenever we do that, I think that the natural trajectory of that is into the area of shame and guilt. And I don't know about you, but I don't need more shame and guilt in my life than I already experience. And I think that religious institutions, particularly Christian institutions, have already had their fair share of spreading guilt and shame, and I think we need to be really careful about that. There's a couple other reasons for this I think that I was thinking of. One of them was, as a psychotherapist, I understand in American culture, we prescribe more psychotropic medications than any other culture. There are a couple of other countries that are close, but our country in particular, we prescribe the highest level of psychotropic medications. I think for every 1,000 people, it's like 170, I think it's a little less than 170 doses of psychotropic medications each day per 1,000 people. And so if you think about our community, our faith community, that means by Sunday night, 1,000 people in our congregation have taken almost 170 pills for depression, for anxiety, for clinical mental health struggles. And I just think to myself, I don't know how helpful it is to be reminded that we're broken, and it's like we already know this and we're already overly medicated. And that's not even to mention, the number of people who use alcohol, to drown their existential pain, or however you want to put it. So I think that needs to be considered. And I also think this. I think this is probably the last thing. Is I think I want to go to a place where I can stand up and I can be confident that I'm a child of God. Like, to me, that's the good news. The good news is I'm a child of God. And the work has already been done. The work of, call it salvation, the work of restoring the whole thing. Maybe it didn't happen right now, but it's going, the work is being done whether we like it or not. And I know I have maybe a little bit different view because I happen to think that all of us are children of God, whether you like it or not, or whether you want to accept it or not. You just are who you've been created to be. And I think that that is ultimately the good news. And I would like to hear more of the good news. I'd like to hear more of the good aspect of we're children of God. We've been forgiven. The work of Christ has been done. It's done. It's been taken care of. And our only job really is to open our eyes and see that the work has been done, to see the good news. To me, that's our only option, is to consent to the reality that we can participate in the work. Or we can continue to make excuses about why we're broken and why we stumble and why we don't believe in God or why we want to, all of this stuff. And I guess I would just like to, I don't know, I'd like to have more of a focus on the good news as opposed to being reminded that I'm broken and that I'm going to stumble. We certainly wouldn't do that to our kids. I mean, we don't wake up every day and say, okay, kids, nephews, nieces, kids that we're working with, you're broken and you're going to stumble, but God's going to take care of you. I think we want our kids to be confident. And I think that saying things the second way is going to be, I don't know, it's just, to me, that's more the good news than saying it, in a way that just reminds us of our dysfunctions and our imperfections. So anyway, that's, I don't know, food for thought. All right.